Saw this shocking article that my friends over in Germany have been sharing with me, which has yet to hit any American English news network. This had to be translated into English as the German government is planning for a disaster and attack inside of Europe. This is the first time they did this in 20 years, and they're telling their citizens to prepare with a 14-day supply of water and food. They're also telling citizens that they should have warm blankets, candles, flashlights, batteries, matches, charged batteries, and cash reserves. They are also adding changes to their infrastructure, making sure people have medication and gas available for their citizens. Now, they're being very vague on why they are changing their natural disaster, their civil defense kind of protocol, but we could speculate on two major events that are unfolding right now that are very serious inside of Europe. But first off, in the United States, if you are a prepper, if you are preparing for an emergency, be prepared to be targeted and spied on by the FBI, because the FBI labels preppers as possible domestic terrorists. The German government is not doing that. They're actually telling their people to prepare for disasters and attacks. Now, what kind of disasters are we talking about? We've narrowed it down to two possibilities. Let me know in the comment section below which one you think is more probable. The first one, economic. Obviously, the German economy is slowing down. Many people are saying that there's an economic meltdown, that the German economy is in financial crisis after Brexit. After the United Kingdom left the European Union, Germany and the European Union will not be able to sustain their economy because of this major geopolitical move. And that's why people are saying it's only a matter of moments until the European economy crashes. Well, first of all, in Europe, in Japan, in China, in the United States, the economic system, it's run on fraud, it's run on bubbles, it's run on derivatives, it's run on fakeness, it's run on debt, and it's only a matter of time until one of these economies gets exposed for what it actually is and then actually collapses. The more probable situation is what's unfolding right now in Ukraine. If you didn't know, the United States and Russia are involved in a proxy war right now inside of Ukraine, and there's fresh fighting, there's fresh gunfire and missiles being launched right now inside of Ukraine, with these two major geopolitical forces, Russia and the United States, facing off against each other through a proxy war. There's a fresh wave of violence in Donbass, which is the eastern part of Ukraine, with flare-ups inside of Crimea. Crimea is the territory that Russia has declared its own under a contract from Ukraine after there was a revolution in Ukraine, which was spurred on by Hillary Clinton's State Department, by the U.S. aid, by the National Endowment for Democracy, by George Soros, by John McCain, which pushed for a revolution that turned the past Ukrainian government, which was favorable of Russia, which was doing business with Russia, against Russia, towards the United States, towards Western forces, towards the European Union, trying to make Ukraine join the European Union. This was a huge slap in the face for Russia. Russia saw this as a threat, and they annexed Crimea, this very important strategic trade and military area inside of Ukraine, as their own. There has been a wave of violence inside of that region, and with everything unfolding, we have a U.S. intelligence officer saying the possibility of another Russian incursion is very real. They are saying this because the Russians are saying that their spy agency, the KGB and the FSB, have claimed to thwart attacks on August 10th inside of Crimea, which Russian authorities pinned down to the Ukrainian government. In one incident, an FSB agent died during a raid of a, quote, terrorist cell. A Russian soldier also died in a separate cross-border firefight, the agency said. Following the alleged incursions by Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin sent a chilling message to Kiev, spurring fears of an all-out war when he said Russia would not let such things pass. There's current fighting. There are a number of deaths happening right now with civilians and military men dying inside of eastern Ukraine as pro-Russian forces are fighting pro-Ukrainian government forces right now. That escalation has happened recently, and even though there was a ceasefire on February 2015, the ceasefire banned the use of heavy weapons being used in that region, but those weapons are being used again. This is very dangerous since these attacks increase, since there are more casualties happening right now. With the heightened fear of an all-out war, the Russians have moved their troops inside of Crimea towards the Ukrainian border, and they have built up their Russian forces, with Ukraine doing the same. Ukraine actually went on high alert, and the Ukrainian ambassador to the United Nations requested an emergency closed-door session of the UN Security Council last week. This is happening because as the tensions are growing, as troops are put on high alert, Putin has just put 40,000 troops and armored vehicles along the Ukrainian borders. We know that in 2014, Putin had told European officials that he could take Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, in just 2 weeks alone if he wanted to. Putin is acting very strategically with this offensive. Just before the major escalations inside of Crimea on August 9th, Putin hosted Turkish President Erdogan for a meeting in Moscow, and they have normalized relations and are working together on determining the future of Syria. With this happening, Turkey and Ukraine actually had an alliance together against Russia. With Putin cozying up with the Turks, he does not have that anymore. Ukraine is left on its own, and Putin has taken away a major ally in this conflict, Turkey, a major NATO ally. And of course, this is going to be huge. This is going to be extremely important when deciding the future of Syria. This is, as many people quote it, apocalyptic to see Turkey turning against the United States and working more cohesively with Russia. Russia is even talking about the possibility of them using the Turkish NATO base in order to launch their operations inside of Syria. This is a huge slap in the face of the United States, of any foreign policy expert, that this is even happening right now. And with all of this unfolding, Joe Biden was sent to Turkey to normalize relations with Erdogan. And Erdogan is pissed off at the United States for many reasons. We will go into Turkey and this major political shift in the next upcoming video. But right now, with 40,000 Russian troops facing off face to face with Ukrainian troops, the situation is getting out of hand. And personally, I believe this is the reason why the German government is telling its citizens to prepare for a disaster. It's a disastrous geopolitical policy unfolding right in front of our eyes that could lead to a potential world war. Many experts are saying that this is very highly likely, especially with this perfect time for Putin to launch a potential invasion of Ukraine. Very dangerous times. What do you think in the comment section below? Let me know. Subscribe. Support us on patreon.com/WeAreChange. Just $1 a month will help us stay uncensored, unfiltered, and independent, because together we are change. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more content coming here your way.